Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can you all hear me? Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Okay, without any further ado, bi'idhnillah al-kareem, we're going to go directly into the class. Okay, now inshallah ta'ala, we're going to go into and speak about the alama far'iyah, the alama far'iyah, right? And that was al-fatha, right? That was the only one left for us. Alama far'iyah, which is al-fatha. Okay, and we said this one is known as al-mamnu' min al-sarf. Does anyone here remember what the word al-sarf means? Does anyone remember what the word al-sarf means? Yes, so al-sarf means, it means a tanween. So what this basically means is لا يقبل, it doesn't accept الصرف. And the sarf is وهو التنوين. Okay, it doesn't accept tanween. In other words, when an ism resembles a fi'l. That's what it is. When an ism resembles a fi'l. That's why the scholars, they say huwa ma ashbaha al-fi'la. It is what resembles a verb, and it resembles it في علتين فرعيتين. And one of it is al-lafz, and the second one is al-ma'na. Sorry. It's when a ism resembles a verb. Okay, and what is it that it resembles? وهو ما أشبه الفعل. It's the one that resembles a verb في علتين, in two reasons فرعيتين. Those two reasons are either the wording or the meaning. Okay, so it resembles a verb. And the second one is in terms of its meaning. The scholars, they explain what that means. The first one is اشتقاقه. I won't explain this too much because I want to go through it in the متممة الأجرومية. But the first one is اشتقاقه من المصدر. And the second one is احتياجه إلى الفاعل. إلى الفاعل. So the first one is the wording. So the first one is the wording. This, and the second one is the meaning. Okay, the wording is اشتقاقه. It's derived. من المصدر is derived from a verb or noun. That's the first one. And the second reason why it will resemble is احتياجه إلى الفاعل. It requires a فاعل. Okay, it requires a فاعل. Okay. So it's those two reasons they say that a verb will resemble, a noun will resemble a verb. Okay. And the ism الذي لا ينصرفنا, it's either one of two things. It's either alam, which is a name, or it's a sifa, which is an adjective. Now you might be astounded and say to yourself, how in English adjectives are different to nouns, but in Arabic language, an adjective falls under a noun. Does that make sense? So it's either a name. Alam is not a noun, it's a name. And a sifa is an adjective. So it's either going to be one of those two. Okay. So 6 is going to be alam, and 3 is going to be sifa, which makes it 9 that are mamnu' min as-sarf. And these are 9s that you have to memorize if you ever asked, what are the mamnu' min as-sarf? So let me go through the alam, the names that are mamnu' min as-sarf. Okay. Okay. So the first one is it's التأنيث. التأنيث بغير ألف. Okay, so التأنيث بغير ألف, it's any noun, any feminine word that doesn't finish with an alif. Okay, like Fatima, Hamza, Zainab. I've just mentioned to you 3 types of mu'annath. I don't know if you realized 3 types of feminine. This one is feminine in terms of the wording, Fatima, and it's also feminine in terms of its usage. Who is it used for? Yani it is a feminine. The word is feminine. How is the word feminine? Because it finishes with ta' marbuta. So the word is a feminine. And it is also used for a female, which is Fatima. So that's that. Hamza, the word is a feminine because it finishes with ta marbuta, but it's not utilized and used for a feminine. It's used for a male. That's the second type. The third type is the word is not a feminine. The word is not because it doesn't finish with ta marbuta, but it is used for a feminine. The fourth type, so this is number one, this is number two, and this is number three. All three of those types are mamnu' min as-sarf. The only type that is not mamnu' min as-sarf, which is بغير alif, if it's hubla. Hubla. That's a feminine word, okay? But it finishes with the alif. Because if this one finishes with the alif, this is not mamnu' min as-sarf. Okay, this is not the discussion. So those are the only four types of feminine words in the Arabic language. Three of which, so these three are mamnu' min as-sarf. Does that make sense? Yeah, does that make sense? The second type is al-ujma. Any non-Arabic words are also mamnu' min as-sarf, like Idris and Ibrahim. Those names are mamnu' min as-sarf because they are not Arabic, they are ujma. Ujma means non-Arab. Number three, التركيب المزجي. The تركيب المزجي, it's basically when two words are brought together, then it becomes one. For example, خرج زيد, for example. خرج زيد. خرج is one word, زيد is another one, right? You all understand, right? Yeah? Are we all together? Okay, someone takes this name and he's now called Kharaja Zaydun. That's his name now, Kharaja Zaydun. He becomes Kharaja Zaydun. He's now known as Kharaja Zaydun. These two words are no longer considered two separate words. They're considered one word now. And many words in Arabic language are found to be like that, like Hadar, Maut. But now it's called Hadramaut. It's called Hadramaut. It's become one word, but it's actually Hadara and then Maut. صح? That's what it. So this is called tarkib misji in the Arabic language. Words like that are mamnu' min as-sarf. For example, ba'labak and ba'di karab and ta'abbata sharra. Those are all called at-tarkib al-misji. Okay, they were two separate words. They've got put together, and now they've become two words and now become one. This is called at-tarkib al-misji. What's it called? At-tarkib al-misji. Does everybody understand? Number four is called wazn al-fi'li. Wazn al-fi'li means the structure of this word is like a verb. And I gave an example of this previously, like Ahmed, Yazid. The structure is a verb. Ahmed is the name of a person, right? And Yazid is also the name of a person. So look at Ahmed, and a verb seems similar. Ahmadullah, I praise Allah. Yazid, Yazidullah. The structure is like a verb, right? So this looks like a fi'l, mudari', right? This one also looks like a what? It looks like a fi'l mudari', right? So the structure is the structure of a verb. The wazn means structure. So it's the structure of a verb, okay? And then you have number 5, which is زيادة الألف والنون. Okay, زيادة الألف والنون. زيادة الألف والنون, like any name that finishes with alif and noon at the ending. Okay, like Uthman. Okay, Affan. Okay, Ridwan. They all finish with alif and noon, alif and noon, alif and noon. Okay, all those names are also mamnu' min as-sarf. Number 6 is the last of the alam, the names, is Al-Adl. Now, Al-Adl means this word has been, it's معدول به عن وزن آخر. The word has actually been changed and flipped from another structure originally, like the word Umar, Zufar. Okay, and for example, the word Umar, okay, the word Umar, it's taken from another use of a structure, another structure of the word. For example, Umar originally is taken from Amr, right? Does that make sense? So Umar is Amr. Or Amir. This is just it's changed from that form. And because it's not in its original form, it won't accept it now that it's in this new form. It won't accept the tanween. It won't accept the tanween. Nor will it accept the kasra. It won't accept the kasra. For me personally, the way I remember this, anything that comes in the form of fu'al, that's how I just remember it. Fu'al. Umar, Zufar, Qufal, Hubal, all of those names that all start with, like, that are in the form of fu'al are always added. They've always been taken from the word's been structured, it's been derived from another structure. Hence why it doesn't allow the kasra. It doesn't accept the kasra because of that. Okay, so those are the 6 names that don't accept tanween. These 6 names don't accept tanween. They don't accept tanween, nor do they accept the kasra. So if you're going to say majroor bil fatha, basically, all of them. So for example, if you say marartu bi sorry. marartu, I came by بإبراهيم. صح؟ بإبراهيم. Someone might say, if this name was Zaid, you say مررت بزيد. That's what you would say, right? But here you have to مررت بإبراهيم. When this place is actually meant to be اسم مجرور, right? This place is اسم مجرور, right? It's اسم مجرور and it's meant to be مجرور بالكسرة. Okay? But no, it's actually مجرور بالفتحة. Why? Because it's ممنوع من الصرف. And somebody might ask you, why is it ممنوع من الصرف? You have to say عجمة. It's a foreign name. Does that make sense? If you put مررت بفاطمة, فاطمة, you'll say. Somebody might say to you, oh, but why? Why are you saying فاطمة? Isn't that اسم مجرور? You'll say, yeah, نعم, it's true. But it is مجرور بالفتحة because it's تاء التأنيث بغير ألف. Okay? Does that make sense? Now I want to go into the three, which is the sifa now, adjective. The three adjective one are simple and easy. There's زيادة. Alhamdulillah. يهديكم الله ويصلح بالكم. The sifa is three. The first زيادة الألف والنون. Now you might say to yourself, okay, I don't get this. You told me some names that also finish with alif and noon, like Uthman and Affan and Ridwan. These are adjectives. They are adjectives. And they also finish with alif and noon, but they're adjectives. Like, for example, Atshan. And Jo'an, right? Meaning I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, but they finish with alif and noon. Jo'an means I'm hungry. They finish alif and noon. Atshan means I'm thirsty, but they finish with alif and noon. These are sifa and descriptions. The second one is it's وزن الفعل. And أفضل, for example. And it's also أحسن. And some scholars, they dispute this type because there are people whose names are أحسن and أفضل. Huh? So there's a dispute whether these can actually be a name or are they just descriptions. They could be. And the last one is Al-Adl. Al-Adl. Like the word مثنى. Sorry. Like the word مثنى. ثلاثة. All of those words. أخر, even if the word أخر. All of them are ممنوع من الصرف. Why? Because the word مثنى is taken from اثنين, which is adl. It's taken originally from the word اثنين. And the word ثلاثة has been taken from ثلاثة. And the word أخر has been taken from آخر. Okay? So it's adl, meaning originally taken from something. So the word, because it's been taken from something, you can't place the ruling on what it's been derived from Rather, what you would need is that it goes back to its original form for you to place a kasra on it. Does that make sense? If, so the word khari, you can say that, no problem. Like you can't say khari. You can't say that because I'm not going to self. Does that make sense? Now, those were اسم مفرد. We've done the اسم مفرد. The Jabr Taksir is what's left now. Ta'nith means female, feminine word. Ta'nith means feminine. Now what we got left is to do is Jabr Taksir. Okay? Jabr Taksir it's ممنوع من الصرف twice. Okay? Twice. When it comes in the what? صيغة منتهى الجموع. يعني صيغة منتهى الجموع. أو كان مخصوصا ب or if it finishes with two things. ألف تأنيث الممدودة. And the second one is, and I'll explain it inshallah ta'ala, ألف التأنيث المقصورة. مقصورة. Okay? So what does it mean, صيغة منتهى الجموع? Sorry. What does it mean, صيغة منتهى الجموع? It means if the word finishes in two ways. Like the word masajid, which is basically what? كل جمع, every plural بعد ألف تكسيره حرفان. That's what it is. The word masajid. Masaji. After the alif, there's a kasra there. And it's two letters. That's it. So it comes in the word mafa'ila. 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 So there's an alif there. Okay. There's a kasra after the alif. Okay. And it's two letters after the alif. That's the first one. So I'll repeat myself again. Okay. I'll repeat myself again. Okay. Sorry about that. So the word, it's a plural. There's alif. Okay, good. And there's a kasra after it, after the alif. And there's two letters after the alif. There's two letters after the alif. And the one right after it is, anyway, so in simple terms, if it comes in the form of mafa'ila. And the second one is if it comes in the word form of mafa'il. Mafa'il. Okay? Like masabih. So, okay? And this one they say ثلاثة وسطها وسطها ساكن. صح? So there's three here and the middle is sakin. مصابيح. So anyways, if it comes in either the form of مفاعيل or مفاعيل, it's ممنوع من الصرف. يعني جمع التكسير. Okay? The second way is if it's ألف التأنيث الممدودة like الحمراء حمراء صح خضراء صح عاشوراء. All of those are ممنوع من الصرف. Why are they ممنوع من الصرف? What's the reason? The reason why they're ممنوع من الصرف is because they are first of all plural and they also finish with ألف التأنيث الممدودة. This is ألف تأنيث الممدودة. The second one is حب لا دعوة حب لا دعوة. And these are also ممنوع من الصرف. Why are they ممنوع من الصرف? Because they are plural, okay, and they are ألف تأنيث المقصورة. It's ألف التأنيث المقصورة. But this one doesn't fall under the first one that we were talking about, which is التأنيث التأنيث بغير الألف, like Fatima and Hamza and Zainab. It doesn't fall under that. حبلى here, it falls under the جمع التكسير. Okay. Now there's a tricky thing which I'm going to conclude with. Yeah. Is this right? Can anyone correct me if it's right or wrong? مررت أيه بأحمد بأحمدكم. Is that correct? Okay. Can anyone explain to me why it's wrong? Okay. Ahmed is a wazn of a fi'l. Okay. It's a wazn of a fi'l. So what did I do wrong here? What did I do wrong here? Also, Ahmed, I should have said مررت بأحمدكم. You're saying I should have placed a dal, a fatha on the dal. Yeah. To be honest with you guys, مررت بأحمدكم is correct. Why? The reason is because it has a idafa here, which is kum. And that's one of the times it breaks it. Okay. Or if I was to say as well, marartu, I came by bil Ahmed, bil Ahmadi. Marartu bil Ahmadi. It's also this time is also not mamnu' min as-sarf. Not, I can place a kasra there. Why? Because write this down. Shartu, right? Shartu جر الاسم الممنوع من الصرف is بالفتحة. صح؟ There's two conditions. ألا يكون مضافا. And number two, ولا فيه ال. Those are two conditions. If the noun, so if the noun is مضاف, which ممنوع من الصرف is مضاف, it's attributed, or if there's ألف اللام in it, then it's no longer ممنوع من الصرف. Does that make sense? Inshallah ta'ala. Now I'm going to go into the last and final chapter of Al-I'rab, which is Al-Jazm. Okay? That's what we're going to study, inshallah ta'ala. So, there's علامة أصلية, and there's also علامة فرعية. The علامة أصلية, again, it's always going to be a حركة, and here it's a what? It's a سكون, and that is the المضارع الصحيح. And the فرعية, it's الحذف, the removal. And there's two things that you do حذف of, simple as المضارع المعتل and الأفعال الخمسة. Okay. Someone asked a question. What was the question? You said, Ustad, can you repeat the shart, please? I will, inshallah. Okay, let me repeat that for you then. The shart is basically if all of the 9 that I mentioned to you, including plus the two that I mentioned from the جمع المذكر السالم, which is منتهى صيغة الجموع. Also the when it finishes with a ta'rif, which is مختوم بألف ممدودة أو مقصورة, it doesn't matter, any of those two, which makes it 11. Those 11, if any of them is مضافة or it finishes with alif and lam. So for example, the word masjid, we said it's what? ممنوع من الصرف. Sorry, masajid, not masjid. Masajid, we said, sorry, bear with me. We said masajid. We said masajid ممنوع من الصرف. We said that, right? Masajid. But if alif and lam goes before it and it becomes al-masajid, if alif and lam goes before it, it's no longer ممنوع من الصرف. It's no longer ممنوع من الصرف because alif and lam went before it. Or if we say masajidikum, your masajid, and we take off the alif and lam, okay, and it becomes a mudaf, meaning idafa connects to it. Your masajid, I attribute the message to someone. Mudaf means when you attribute something to someone. Then it's also no mamnu' min as-sarf anymore. In other words, it's only mamnu' min as-sarf, brothers and sisters, when it's munakkarah, when it's tankir, when it's indefinite, okay? Per se, okay? Okay? So now let's go into the jazm, inshallah ta'ala. When the mamnu' min as-sarf becomes mudaf, or al it is no longer mamnu' min as-sarf, right? Yes, it is no longer mamnu' min as-sarf. So inshallah ta'ala, we're going to take the last chapter of Al-I'rab, and that is Al-Jazm. The jazm is either علامة أصلية or it's a علامة فرعية. Okay, again, the علامة أصلية is the sukun, simple as. And what does the فعل المضارع الصحيح الآخر mean? So المضارع الصحيح, basically it means, as Ajrumi mentions, الفعل, okay, المضارع, okay, الصحيح الآخري. الفعل المضارع الصحيح الآخري is basically the فعل المضارع that is healthy from the ending. It just means that it doesn't finish with wow, alif, or ya. Okay, ففعل مضارع, it finishes with wow, alif, or ya. It's Y. I call it those Y letters. Y, Y. Read it together, right? Y, Y. Any of those three letters, if it finishes with it, it's not called فعل مضارع صحيح الآخر. صحيح means healthy from the end. These are the three naughty letters. Okay, they're three naughty letters. If it doesn't finish with wow, alif, or ya, then it's no problem. There's a sukun on it. Okay, there's a what? Sukun. For example, the word yal'ab. Yal'abu. Okay, the word yal'abu. Hey, brothers and sisters, what does it finish with? It finishes with a ba. Ba is not from the three naughty letters that I just mentioned. Wow, alif, ya. It's not. So what happens in this situation? If you put the word lam before it, it just becomes sukun. You say lam yal'ab. Ha, lam yal'ab. So the word yal'ab becomes what? It becomes fi'l مضارع. So فعل مضارع which is مجزوم. Sorry. مجزوم بلم صح. وعلامة جزمه السكون. Simple. Okay, that one is easy. The tricky one is if it's المضارع المعتل. Okay, if it's a what? If it's معتل الآخري. معتل الآخري means when it finishes with a واو, ألف, or ياء. صح? So for example, the word يدعو. What does the word يدعو finish with, brothers and sisters? It finishes with a waw, which is a naughty letter. If you put a lam before it, what happens? How do you just have to remove the waw. You just remove the waw and it becomes lam yad'u. Lam yad'u. That's why it's called hadf. What it does is the lam, it removes the letter waw. Okay? It removes it. Example, the word yarmi. Yarmi. The word yarmi, what does it finish with? It finishes with a ya. Is the ya one of the naughty letters? Yes. If lam goes before it, what does it do? It just removes the ya. Okay? It just removes the ya and it becomes lam yarmi. How do I know that there's a ya missing from the word if I see it like this? Lam yarmi. I know it because of this kasra. This kasra explains to me the ya because the ya is a sign of a kasra, right? And the waw here, I know it's missing from here because the word yad'u, there's a dhamma on it. And this dhamma, it's basically informing me that there used to be a waw here. صح? For example, يسعى. يسعى. The word يسعى here is the alif, which is مقصورة, right? So the alif here. If I put lam before it, it becomes lam يسعى. صح? So it becomes lam. It becomes lam يسعى. So there's a fatha on here. So it's lam يسعى. Does that make sense?
ये तो लाइव हो रही है ये शराब पढ़ा रहा है जुमिया की जो हमने पढ़ी है पे बड़ा अच्छा पढ़ाता है
Someone's recording is coming through. Okay. Are we all together? So I mentioned to you the wow. I mentioned the wow to you. I mentioned the yet to you. And I also mentioned the alif to you. All three of them are removed. Does that make sense to everybody? So, and now we're with the word يفعلان, for example. Okay. If the word lam goes before it, and if يفعلان is أسماء أفعال الخمسة, you should know it by now. Okay. يفعلان is أسماء أفعال الخمسة أفعال الخمسة. If lam went before it, which is أداة من أدوات الجزم, what would it do? It would just remove the noun. That's what it does. So again, it's a removal. But this is not mamnu' min as-sarf. It's not the naughty letters. It's just it removes the noun. So it becomes lam yaf'ala. If it was taf'alina, taf'alina, you put lam before it, is lam taf'ali. So you just remove the noun again. Okay? So it becomes taf'a. So wait. Yeah. It becomes lam taf'ali. And that's how it basically is. I'm going to conclude, inshallah ta'ala, the whole entire chapter of Al-I'rab in one in one sit. So I just hope you can all write it, inshallah ta'ala. Those were the four, right? So let's start with Araf. And that was Al-Dhamma. And also Alamat Far'iyya, Al-Alif, Al-Waw, Al-Nun. And then we go to Al-Nas, Alama Asliya, Jazakallah khair for letting me know. And the Alamat, Al-Alif, Al-Ya, Hadf Al-Nun. And then the Jazm, two types. We took it today, which is As-Sukun, which is Alama Asliya. And there's a Hadf, which is Alama Far'iyya. And then there's Jar, with Alama Asliya, which is Al-Kasra. And Alama, sorry, actually, Al-Ya and Al-Fatha. What we were trying to manage was the I'rab is the 8 are only done. The 8 is done here. So in Ar-Rafa, we do I'rab of 8. And in Nasb, we do I'rab of the 8. And in Al-Jazm, we only do I'rab of 2 because it's only a verb. And the Jar, we do I'rab of 6. And that's how it worked. The 8 that you do I'rab of and how they go into each and every one of those categories. That's what we studied in the chapter of Al-I'rab. Sah? That's what we did, right? last conclusion as well. I'm going to do. You can divide it in المعرب بالحركات and المعرب بالحروف. There was 4 that were done with harakat, and there was 4 that were done with huruf, if you look at all the categories. So, for example, الاسم المفرد was always in every of the categories that we took, that it was done with a haraka. Never do you find الاسم المفرد. جمع تكسير. جمع. مؤنث السالم. and الفعل المضارع الذي لم يتصل بآخره شيء. And these ones, you can also categorize the 8 that we do Arab of into these categories as well. أنا أفعل 5. So for example, the اسم مفرد always حركة. جمع التكسير always حركة. جمع المؤنث always حركة. always حركة. الفعل المضارع الذي لم يتصل بآخره شيء always حركة. لكن these 4, they're always حروف. They're always what? Always حروف. They're always letter. صح? By the way, when we say حركات, and when we say حركات, we actually only mean 3 things. الضمة, number 2, الفتحة, and الكسرة. Here we, even though it's not part of it normally, we do ilhaq of the sukoon. But the sukoon aslan is not a haraka. Generally speaking, when you hear the word haraka, it's meant generally those 3. Like in this is mulhaq. Here is from mulhaq. Okay? We're just connecting to it. We're being a bit loose in the usage of the word haraka. Okay? But it's generally those 3 that are referred to as haraka. But here we mean all 4. So if we go to the muthanna, I'll ask you guys a question. I want you guys to be prompt and fast, okay? I want to see everybody put your fingers on the yeah, you can all take inshallah ta'ala screenshots of my notes. But I just inshallah ta'ala I just want to quickly test you guys. So everybody put your fingers on the keyboard and get ready inshallah ta'ala to respond to these questions, okay? Okay. Are you all ready? Is everyone ready? Yes or no? Okay. So the first person to respond is going to be the winner, okay, inshallah ta'ala. And if you're the winner, inshallah ta'ala, you're not going to get nothing but just dua, inshallah, okay? Okay. Are you all of you guys are ready, right? Okay. The muthanna, it's marfu' with what? MashaAllah, someone just wrote the letter alif. It's fine, it's fine. You can do that if you want to. You're fast. The muthanna is mansoob with what? Mansoob with what? MashaAllah, with ya. The muthanna is majroor with what? Yeah, MashaAllah. And the muthanna is majzoom with what? The muthanna is majzoom with what? The muthanna is majzoom with what? No majzoom. Jazakallah khairan. Because it's not a fi'l. Remember, the fi'l is the only one that's majzoom. Some of you guys will start thinking like, oh, I forgot. I caught you guys there. You see? I have to focus. Okay, Jam al-Mudhakkar salim. It's majroor with what? Jam al-Mudhakkar salim is majroor with what? Who said wow? I'll pretend that didn't happen. Jam al-Mudhakkar salim is majroor with al-ya. Stop sending it to me privately. Anyone who sends it to me privately is not going to change. You have to send it to everybody, okay? You have to send it to everybody, okay? Everyone has to see your answers. So if you get it right, everyone knows you got it right. If you get it wrong, okay. الأسماء الخمسة. Sorry. جمع ذكر سالم. I haven't finished that. جمع ذكر سالم is مرفوع with what? جمع ذكر سالم مرفوع with واو. ما شاء الله. And جمع ذكر سالم is منصوب with what? Yeah, ما شاء الله. أسماء الخمسة. It is منصوب with what? أسماء الخمسة is منصوب with what? ألف. ما شاء الله. It is مجرور with what? With ياء. ما شاء الله. And it is also مرفوع with what? Wow. ما شاء الله. جمع أفعال الخمسة. It's مجرور with what? أفعال الخمسة is مجرور with what? أفعال الخمسة is مجرور with what? What's the silence? No مجرور. جزاك الله خيرا. Because it's a فعل and a فعل can't be مجرور because jar is علامة known only for the ism. Okay? Very good. Be sharp here. So what about أفعال الخمسة? It's مجزوم with what? What's the أفعال الخمسة مجزوم with? حذف what? حذف النون. جزاك الله خيرا. أفعال الخمسة it's مرفوع with what? مرفوع with what? ما شاء الله. Someone went far as going to space by saying بثبات النون. ما شاء الله. All you just say known is enough. And it is منصوب with what? Also حذف النون. ما شاء الله. That's good. Allahumma barik. So all of those four, did you see how it is all of them are letters? All four of them are letters, right? Did you guys see that? The مثنى quickly is مرفوع بالالف منصوب بالياء مجرور بالياء. فمذكر السالم is مرفوع بالواو sorry منصوب بالياء مجرور بالياء. أسماء الخمسة it is مرفوع بالواو منصوب بالالف مجرور بالياء. أفعال الخمسة is what? مرفوع بثبوت النون أما بثبات النون. It is منصوب بحذف النون and it is مجزوم بحذف النون. It's all letters. Do you see the point? That's why all of these are حروف. حروف. They're letters. Okay? They are what? They're letters. And they're not. So, brothers and sisters, this brings us to the end of our lesson in Ajrumiyyah. This was the last class for Al-Ajrumiyyah, as I was informed by Kalima. If we do want to have these classes carried on, Alhamdulillah, we could request for another timing, maybe, that we can do it, inshallah ta'ala, and that you all can become present and participate, bi'idhnillahi al-kareem. Okay? That you could all come and participate. Maybe another session that we go through it. I hope, inshallah ta'ala, that these classes were beneficial for you. If you've studied it before, it was a pleasant revision for you. It's always an honor teaching you all. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bimannihi wa karamihi that Allah bestows His never-ending mercy onto each and every one of you. It's always a privilege to teach you guys. And I truly love you guys all for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And may Allah make you guys scholars and ulama. And I hope you benefited. I truly do hope that you all benefited. Quickly, everybody just mention what country you're in, so I know again. What country? India, UAE, Malaysia, Kashmir, UAE, UK. Allahumma barik. Wow, it's quite early for the UK. UAE, very beneficial. USA. Allahu Akbar. UAE, Sri Lanka. UAE. MashaAllah. Allahumma barik. All over the world. All over the world. May Allah bless you all, inshallah ta'ala. I love you all for the sake of Allah. I'm going to let you guys go. And inshallah ta'ala, the class will resume next Friday. I think we're going to be doing the kitab in Ulum al-Quran, Nuqaya, by Jalaluddin al-Suyuti, rahimahullah. We're going to carry that book on. Bi'idhnillahi al-Kareem. I hope to see you guys there, inshallah ta'ala, and Ulum al-Quran, the science of the Quran, which we'll study there, inshallah ta'ala. Barakallahu feekum, wa jazakumullahu khairan, wassalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.